All right, everybody, here we are once again. Thursday dinners at Chef Andrew. Welcome to Spirited Food. Thursday dinners live. This is going to be another fun one. I got three different interesting sauces to make, which will make your food a lot more interesting, very enjoyable to eat. It'll make eating well a pleasure, as it should be. So we're going to jump right in. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to make. So I was doing some consulting for a vegetarian restaurant in Austin called Citizen Eatery, and one of the items that I came up with was this roasted carrot dish, and it is very delicious. So let's look at what we have. All right. So you can see my beautiful rainbow carrots right here, and these work great with baby carrots. What I'm going to do first is cut these into smaller pieces to make them a little more manageable. We have lemon, orange. We're going to utilize the zest and the whole fruit in that one. So one of the components to this dish is a spice mix. So there's the carrots, and then there's the spice mix, and then there's the sauce. There we go. All right, so we have our carrots. We have our spice mix, which we're not going to use all this. We're only going to use a little bit in the sauce. And the sauce is made from parsley. We got fresh parsley and the lemon, orange, and also some olive oil and salt. It's very simple, very fresh, super delicious. And so in here in the spice mix, we have fennel seed, coriander seed, and also cumin seed. We're going to toast that up and then we're going to cool it down in order to use it. Turn this into a powder and then mix it in with our sauce. To go with that, we have some hot smoked paprika and salt. And those are the components of the spice mix. So let's get going. We're going to first cut our carrots. All right, carrots. So we want small, thinner pieces. I'm going to take the top part and just quarter these real quick. Toss them in my bowl. Depending on the width of these, I'll either half them or quarter them like I did the tops. And this is not too thick, so I'm just going to toss it back into there. And then we have this, and this is long. I'm going to cut this twice. So obviously the top part, this is kind of thick, so I'm going to cut that twice. All I'm trying to do is just get the same type of thickness on all of these. So with this middle piece, I will probably quarter this. And then with the tail, I'm just going to have it. Same type of cutting. All right, so we have our carrots. That was pretty quick. I'm just going to take some olive oil. So since these are raw, just going to add enough to coat. Since these are raw, they need, a decent amount of roasting time. So I'm going to get them in the oven first. I'm going to add just a touch of salt so we can season them a little bit. There we go. We're going to toss just to coat everything with the olive oil. And once they're glistening like that and shiny, they are coated. And now we have our roasting pan. We'll just spread these out a little bit and get them in the oven. Our oven's preheated to 400 right now because I want to cook these pretty quickly. I don't want them to crisp. I just want them to cook through. So we'll go in with the oven now. All right, so second component is our spice mix. And these are the things that make up our spice mix. We want to toast these seeds first. So I'm just going to put them in a dry pan. That I'm going to put this on the stove until they are lightly browned and toasty. I'm going to keep smelling with my nose to make sure I can identify when they start toasting, because I don't want them to burn. I just want them to get fragrant. All right. In the meantime, we need to make our sauce. So that is going to start with a lemon and an orange, and we need to take the zest off of these, and that's just the very thin outer rind of the orange and the lemon and the orange. And then we're going to use our knife to peel it. I'll show you how I do that. So let's get our zester going. So this is a microplane zester. It just removes the very outer part. It doesn't go down into the white pith of the fruit because we don't want that. We just want that flavorful, citrus, oil-filled zest part. All we want. So you can see that right underneath where we're zesting, it is going to get white. So we're not getting into any of that pith, which is bitter. We're just going to leave that alone. So depending on how much really intense lemon flavor you want and the size of your lemon, like this is a pretty big lemon and I already have that much zest. So I'm just going to add that zest to my bowl and stop because I feel like we're going to have enough lemon zest. But if you really like lemon, you can absolutely add all of that lemon. Try not to leave any because it smells so good and it adds so much flavor. Aha, I can smell the spices going and I can hear them they start to pop. You can see the smoke coming out of the pan and they're just starting to change color. So at this point, I don't want high heat. So I'm going to turn this down. I just want them to see how these are starting to brown just a little bit. And you can hear that little snapping noise. That's the seeds starting to toast. That's good. Also, I wish you could smell this because it smells really delicious already. Yeah, so I'm not going to take these much farther. I'm going to just give them another few seconds, and then I'm going to put them on a plate and put them in the freezer so they'll cool down. You can also start to see the little coriander seeds popping open, and that's a really good sign. So this is what we want to create that nice, fragrant flavor, just lightly toasted. And we don't want any of them to burn. Some of the cumin seeds are smaller than the rest of them, and they're more likely to burn than anything else. So I'm going to take it out now. Turn this off. I'll take our toasty spices, put them in this bowl, and spread them out so they'll cool quickly. And I'm going to pop these in the freezer. The reason that we want to cool those down is that the heat activates all the oils in the seeds. If you try to grind them while they're hot, they're just going to turn into a paste really fast. So you'll have this toasted seed butter, and that's not exactly what we're after. We want to have a powder. So that's the next step is the spice grinder. We're going to grind all those seeds to a powder, mix it with the hot smoked paprika and salt, and that'll be the spice mix. Okay, back to the fruit. All right, so we have our zest in the bowl. Now I'll show you what we do with the fruit. Now remember we've been talking about the pith, which is this white part. Oh, that's real bitter. We don't want to eat any of that. So what I just did is called top and tail. I just trim that so I can see what is called the eye right here. And now I'm going to use my knife to just cut around. And I want to expose this, just one little piece, so that I can now use my knife to follow around. And I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. So since I'm right-handed, I'm going to pick this top line, and my knife is just going to follow that. And I'm trying not to make slices that are too thick, because if I do, I'll include too much of the orange in it. If I try to do a thick slice, I'm just going to cut orange away. So I try to keep them to about an inch or less wide so that I'm not wasting a bunch of fruit. And you'll notice I'm also trying to follow the contour of the orange as I go. Okay. And if there's any left, you can just trim it off as you need. So that's the orange. I have my trash can right down here. So we're going to do the same thing with the lemon. I'm going to top and tail. And I want to cut in enough to where I could see the eye, which I'm not quite there yet. So we cut another little slice, and there it is. That may not even be quite enough. Okay, there we go. Other side. That's good. If you get some and you don't want to waste it, just squeeze the juice into the bowl. Like that. I'm not into wasting. So we're going to use the juice anyway. So this is same thing. And if you don't quite open up that slot, then cut it same spot, just a little bit deeper. Okay. All right. Now we know there's a core. You can see that little middle part. We don't want that. And we don't want the seeds that are right around the core. So what do? We cut around the core. We do what I call the long sides first. And then now we can see the core. It runs right here. So I'm going to cut on either side of that. And now we check for any seeds that were totally seedless. So that piece can go in. And we need to just give this a quick little chop. Like so. That goes in the bowl. Now we have this core. Again, we don't want to waste any juice. So we squeeze it, taking care not to get any seeds in there. Same thing with the orange. We do the long sides first. And again, I don't want to cut in so that I'm cutting into the core. I'm cutting around the core because I don't want to deal with the core at all, or the seeds if there are any. Okay, so this is, you can see this is a square shape. And I'm going to take that and not waste that juice. Okay. And then these pieces, incidentally, if you had a grapefruit or a citrus that has thicker membranes. Membranes are the pieces that separate these little fillets. You could just peel these off, and then you can take the membranes off too. But with oranges and lemons, they're so thin that they're kind of fussy. But with grapefruits and stuff, it works really great. In fact, my daughter is so spoiled. She will not eat a grapefruit unless I peel it for her. That is one of the banes of being a chef, is you get to deal with stuff like that. But it's my pleasure. All right, so there's our orange and lemon. You get any kind of excess juice that's on the board. Try to get that into the bowl just so we're not wasteful. Okay, and then the next component is going to be olive oil and chopped Italian parsley. When you have a bunch of herbs and it's already bound together by a rubber band or a twist tie, you want to utilize the fact that it's all together and just kind of twist it together like this, and use the fact that it's all together so that you can just cut it as thinly as possible. If you ever have to chop parsley or any other herb, this is an easy way to do it. You shave it as thinly as you can now, so that when you go back and you have to chop it, really only have to run your knife through it a few times to get something that's relatively small. Actually, we're ready to make the spice mix now because these are cool. So we can now spice grind these. I have my handy spice mixer with my spice bowl. It's all ready for that. So let me get this set up. All right, I'm going to put all of this spice in here, but remember, we're not going to use all this in the recipe. So you will have extra carrot spice in your pantry to use for later. And the reason is for this recipe, we just don't need it all. But it goes great on a lot of other things like chicken and steak. So here's our season here. I'm going to blenderize that up real quick. All right, here we go. Nice, nice. I wish you could smell that. It smells so good. Okay, for the sauce. Now, we're going to take our citrus pieces and zest. We're going to add that to our blender vessel. I'm going to take care to scrape all the zest into here as well. Okay. We need 8 ounces of olive oil. So that's going to go in here. About there. We need 1 tablespoon of our spice mix. Oh, wait, I forgot something. Our spice mix is not done. Remember, we have to mix our salt, hot smoked paprika, and all that together. Right. Let's not forget that. Okay, so now you can see it all coming together with the salt and the hot smoked paprika. That smells good. This paprika was Spanish. It's super flavorful and it is hot. You could use sweet paprika if you really wanted to, but I like the extra little heat it adds. So you see how I just stirred it until all the paprika is now incorporated? Okay, so now we take our carrot spice and about a tablespoon of that. And we're going to take this and check our recipe. We still need salt in there, and that's it. We will blend it. After that, we just need 1 teaspoon, which looks like about that. Okay. Now we're going to blend this. All right, so we wanted to blend this until it's totally smooth, which it is. And look at that color. It looks great. And then the reason that we didn't put the parsley in the blender is because we don't want the parsley to be completely pureed, and we want to still see it. So we've chopped it, and you can blend it a little bit if you want to, or you can keep it a little more rustic looking and just pop it in there like that, which is what I'm going to do, and just mix it in there. So now we have our parsley in there. You can see the color of our sauce. It's nice coating consistency. Let's try it. Oh, that's good. Okay, so as you can see, our carrots have been roasting well. And now what we need to do is take our sauce and just lightly coat the carrots with the sauce and put them back in the oven. That looks real nice. All right, so special treat for all you meatitarians. I know you're out there. Yes, you can do this with meat. So what I have is same carrot mixtures, same carrot sauce. I have some chicken meatballs. I'm just gonna coat these in here with it. I'm gonna put these over here on the tray, just so you can see. You can also do this with meat. Same style. Just get those in the sauce. Look at that. Lovely. Okay, I'm returning this pan to the oven just for a few minutes. Okay, secondly, we're going to make a green harissa. It's got chilies, cilantro, parsley. It's got lemon juice. It's got olive oil, garlic, scallions, and salt. It's really nice. Super fresh. It's like a salsa verde, but it's a little bit spicy. So today I decided to pair that with a nice Berkshire pork chop. So we're gonna cook that in a pan. And I first need to season my pork chop with salt and pepper. Salt, pepper. Okay, so whenever we're sauteing, you always want to make sure that you can hear that the sizzle sound. So as long as we have that sizzle, we know we're going to be sauteing. So I'm going to let that go over medium high heat while we're working on the sauce part of that. Okay, so green harissa, let's go over the components real quick. So this one is also super easy, also made in a blender, which makes it really no frills, right? So here's our stuff. Here's what we need to make it. We have lemon, we have some scallions. Again, we have cumin seed, coriander seed, garlic. We have a jalapeno, and we have some parsley and cilantro to go in. So for this one, we're just going to be building it all and putting it right into the blender cup. So this one too, while we're getting the vegetable stuff ready, we're going to toast these seeds again, just like we did last time. So I'm going to get these in a pan. And since those are going with other cold ingredients, you don't really have to cool them down because they're going to go straight in the blender with liquids and things like that. So the seeds are going first, and then we want to add our jalapenos and scallions and garlic next. So depending on how hot you want it, I have two here that I'm going to use in mine. You can use one or you can use a half of one. Just depends on what you want. The recipe says jalapenos seeded, and I'll show you how to seed them. So you want to trim off just the stem part, get rid of that. Taking out the seeds is going to make it significantly less spicy. So if I'll show you how to do it. Come around this side. So you can see again where the core is there. It's right in the middle of that white part. So just like we did with the citrus, I'm just going to cut around it. So now that I can see where the seeds are, I'm going to cut on this side. I'm going to cut on this side, and I'll cut on this side. And I'll come back and get that little piece. So now I have all the seeds and the pith in the middle that I can discard if I want to. And then I can take my jalapeno flesh, just give it a chop, and put it right into my blender cup. So that is how to make jalapeno seeded. If you want it spicy, don't do that. Just cut the pepper like this, like I'm going to do. Drop it in there. Seeds and all. So no spicy, take the seeds out. If you want it spicy, keep the seeds in. Okay, garlic, same thing. How much do you want? You want one larger clove, or do you really like garlic like me? You can put 2 in. Remember that recipes are generally just guidelines. If you like more or less of something, you can adjust it accordingly, and you probably won't mess up the recipe, especially one like this. So I just chopped our garlic just to kind of help the blender along a little bit. I'm going to check on our pork chop. See what's going on. I can see some smoke. Yes, we have a nice sear going on the pork chop. So I'm going to give that a couple minutes. And we're going to finish that in the oven. You can see our seeds are starting to toast. And I can smell them. They're going to be ready very soon. I'm just going to turn the heat off and let them just hang out there for a second. Okay. You can start to see the little coriander seeds are splitting and the cumin seeds are getting darker. So that is all we want to do on those. Okay, so take this. I'm going to take my seeds. I'm going to put them right into the blender cup. So we have garlic, jalapenos, and our seeds. And now we need to do the scallions, and we need to add the parsley and cilantro. We have fresh lemon juice that goes in there. And again, you don't need to worry about how you cut these. I'm just helping the blender along, so just cutting them into rough pieces. We're going to blend this until it's smooth anyway, but I'm just helping it along. So all that goes in. We have parsley. We need a 1/2 cup of parsley and cilantro. So this is going to be blended. You don't have to shave it like I told you last time. You can just kind of rough chop it. Take out those extra leaves. Well, on this one, you can let the blender do the work because we want it to be totally smooth. All right. So parsley's going in. I could smell my pork chop. We're going to throw that in the oven real quick. So let's go back over here. Okay. Let's throw our pork chop in the oven. I'm going to pull out our carrots and meatballs. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Those are ready. Beautiful. Okay, so our pork chop's working. Now for our cilantro. Okay, remember how I said twist ties, you always need to pull them down so you never cut into them? The same kind of thing. We want to roll this, bunch it, cut through so we have what we need, about that much. That is perfect. This will go straight into the blender cup. All right, outstanding. Okay, now we need to add the olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you could also use avocado oil or some kind of other neutral oil. Doesn't exactly have to be avocado oil. And in fact, I have an avocado olive oil blend that I'm going to add to this. And it calls for 4 ounces of olive oil. And that's just to get all this going. So I'm going to add about that much. Okay, now lastly, I have a lemon that's already gotten zested, as you can see. And I rolled it to kind of break up the fibers because we need lemon juice. Gonna add that lemon juice right in. And I still do it in my hand just to catch any seeds like that one. It may fall out. So I don't want seeds in my green harissa. Right. A little bit of salt. Okay, now we're gonna take this and blender it until it's smooth. All right, look, our green harissa is done. Look at that color. It's beautiful. Let's give it a taste. It's really not that spicy. So if you wanted to make something that was a little more banging hot, you could add serranos instead. But that has a nice, just pleasant warmness in the mouth, and that's kind of what I was after. So good. All right, let's check on our pork chop. I wanted to show you the other side now that we got it out. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. Okay, so we're gonna let that rest for the time being, and then we're gonna start on our last preparation, which is a citrus. It's an orange and chili salsa. So let's go over our ingredients for this last salsa or last sauce. This is just a fresh, easy salsa. All right, so we're gonna have a little red onion, a habanero, a jalapeno, an Anaheim chili, not spicy. We have some lime juice. We're using the zest, and I put the zest aside already from that orange. We're gonna treat it like we did the other one and peel it, and then use all the flesh. And also cilantro. Also enhancing that, we'll have some red wine vinegar, olive oil, and garlic as well. So for this one, all of our heat is really going to come from our habanero. So just for ease of cutting everything up nicely. Oh, and incidentally, I'm making only a half recipe. The full recipe has a lot more. It has 2 jalapenos, and it makes a lot more. I just didn't need to make all the whole recipe. So this is a half batch. This is what a half batch looks like. All right, so to make this salsa, we're going to cut these planks of jalapeno into a small dice. So we'll take our strips, and then we're going to cut them. That'll go in the bowl with our orange zest. Let me just say real quick, I'll be cutting all this by hand, but if you would rather do this in the food processor, that's totally fine. Just clean all your ingredients, chop them into big chunks, throw it all in the food processor, and pulse it till you have the texture you want. It's super easy. All right, back to our prep. Okay, same kind of thing with our Anaheim chili. I'm going to cut this into strips. We have one habanero. Again, seeds or no seeds, that is your call. I don't want to blow my face off, so I'm just going to use a part of this habanero. Just want it to be warm. So I'm cutting very thin strips on this habanero so I can have really tiny habanero pieces. I don't want to, I like spicy, but in this one, it's really not necessary to have it be super hot. So you can just mince this until it's very, very fine and then add it. That way, nobody gets a big piece of habanero unless you want them to. So one more pass and then we'll call it good. Okay. So we got lots of good color already. Look at that. Now, red onion. What the recipe calls for is sliced red onion, thinly sliced. So I'm going to show you a trick. I already had this one prepped, and I just cut it in half through the root. But since we're doing everything small, I'm just going to cut the top off like that. I need my layers to stay together. And you see this, the lines this way? I'm going to cut with the lines. Okay. Just very thin strips this way. All right, now I'm gonna leave them that way just for visual appeal because I like strips of red onion. I think they look nice. But if you wanted to have everything be diced, that's okay. You could go ahead and just like with the peppers, come back through and cut them through to make your dice. But I'm gonna leave mine that way. Okay, we need lime juice in there. I have a lime that obviously was already zested. Take that, squeeze that lime in there. And we still have an orange to go and cilantro. So, oh, let's not forget the garlic as well. So with the garlic, if you have a garlic press, that's fine to use at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mince my garlic. As best I can. I forgot I smashed it already. So I'm just cut this into very, very small pieces. See, this is all good knife practice for me to keep my knife skills sharp. I didn't realize I just made a knife pun, but I did. You're welcome. So kind of like with the habanero, we don't really want to get any big pieces of garlic. So we'll just run the knife through here a few times to mince it up real nicely. And I think one more time, one more pass, and then we're going to be done. Okay. Yeah. Garlic into the bowl. That's what we're looking like so far. Remember, we have our orange yet. I'm going to go ahead and put the cilantro in there since our bunch is already rolling for us. Now, cilantro is in the category of delicate herb. So you see how I'm just slicing it into very thin strips at this moment? I don't want to come back through and chop it like parsley because parsley is a hardy herb and it can really hold up to chopping and mincing. Cilantro will oxidize. So all we want to do to delicate herbs is just slice through them once like this. Basil would be in that category. Chives would be in that category. But like herbs like parsley, rosemary, thyme, you could chop them and chop them and chop them, and they're not going to oxidize and you're not going to lose the green. But if we came back through and just started chopping this down, it would oxidize and turn brown or black. And we definitely don't want that. We want to keep it fresh. Plus, having little thin strips of cilantro in your salsa is nice and appealing. It looks really good. Okay, so that's what we're looking like so far with our cilantro, and we still have our orange to go. This will be just like we did the other one. So you see how the slices were sticking to my knife? One remedy for that is this type of cut where I'm pulling the blade towards me instead of pushing it away from me. This is called the pulling cut. This is the chop where I'm pushing the blade forward. And this is the pull. See how generally the pieces are staying where they are? There you go. Some other chef tips for you. All right, orange goes into bowl. We have in there orange, cilantro, jalapeno, poblano. It was Anaheim. Habanero, red onion, garlic, olive oil. We still need. So here we go with the olive oil. Just a little. And also some red wine vinegar, just a touch. I know we have lime juice in there already, but it'll really brighten it up. And then we just need to season it. Season it and toss it all together, and that will be done. So a little bit of salt, like that. Okay, I'm going to see already. Look at that color. And if you wanted to add a red pepper to this too, just for some extra color, that is great. You can do that. So there's our orange and chili salsa. Remember, you can make it as spicy as you want. You can also use different citrus in it. Like you could go grapefruit, you could go sour orange. And to go with our orange and chili salsa, what I thought would be interesting is I have these shrimp cakes that are shrimp mixed with shrimp paste, just put into a patty. So we're gonna just pan roast that. I have some olive oil in a pan. Take one, drop them in there. Now you can start to see the color change. Because this should cook pretty quickly. You can already see it's turning that orange color on the side, which means our shrimp is cooking through. See that? You can see that. orangey red color on the side, which means our shrimp is cooking through. About 30 seconds, I'm gonna flip that over. Let's plate. I'll show you what this looks like. So at the restaurant that I developed this in, we have these long white plates. Like this one. We take carrots and just sort of lay them like that all the way down. You can come back with a little extra sauce. That. And then the way that we would finish these is we would have some toasted pumpkin seeds. And we would just do a little garnish like that. And also some pickled gold raisins. Just to add a little sour boost. Just like that. And that is the carrot dish. Also the meatballs. Don't forget about those. Let's taste meatball first. It's really good with the sauce. Carrot. Mm. I miss this dish. It's really good. Especially right now with fall. Make this. We have our shrimp cake. We take our orange chili salsa. Just put that right on top. Take some of the juice. Spread it around. Shrimp cake. Remember, this goes well on chicken, steak, other fish. Use your imagination. Anything grilled, anything fresh. It's going to be really nice with this salsa. So here's what the shrimp cake looks like. See how it's white and opaque? It's cooked all the way through. Mm-hmm. I want to eat more of that. I'm going to have another bite. Mm, that's good. All right, last item. We have our green harissa. We have our pork chop. Simple as that. Simple as that. Done. So let's try that. See how we did. Make sure it's still juicy inside. Yep. I don't need to eat all that big fat cap. All right, let's get some of that. Green Harissa. There we go. Mm. It's bright, it's herby. It's just a little bit spicy. It's just very interesting. Really good. That could go well on any grilled thing too. Really, really nice. And none of these are hard. All of them are pretty straightforward and easy, right? You can do all of these. So I'm showing you how you can eat well easily. Make your food delicious and make your food be good for you, right? You got any questions, comments, hit me up on the school platform, or you can email me, chefandrew@spiritedfood.com. This is Chef Andrew. Thursday dinners out. I'll see you at the next one.